Hitting it now. All right, I think we're here. We're back. Yay, we're live.
Yay, we're live. Well, that's good news.
I mean, generally speaking, yes.
For all those wonderful chaps and chapettes and everything in between out there, we've got a changeling with us this week, so any aliens could be joining us.
Indeed. It's Prodigy is back. That's a good thing.
Back with a storm, with a
bang.
With several bangs. They die often. Although isn't it interesting that both shows did a holodeck themed going through referential craziness within like first one of this reset and then the second batch and then Lower Decks, like 3 from the end of season 2. So both animated teams had a similar idea, relatively short order.
That's fine with me.
That's some of their best. Some of their best. Okay, I have got review scores still. Good. Good
thing. All right. Well, welcome back, guys. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Let's get those likes rolling.
Why don't you start the poll, Stuart, so people can come in and vote straight away?
Ooh.
We have that feature whenever we remember that we have it.
Right. Let's see.
And yes, hopefully you guys are gonna. Well, I mean, you guys obviously here because you're here with us. Hopefully you're gonna join for this Prodigy Live because we certainly liked talking about this show. It had a hiatus, bit annoying, but hey ho. Hopefully you guys will join in as much as you did for the other episodes and other concepts and other things about Discovery, etc. Because arguably this is more exciting than Discovery in a lot of ways. So you'd like to think that people would join in. And if this thumbnail isn't enticing, both giving away some cool stuff and teasing some other stuff, hopefully people are going to come in because there's definitely a hell of a lot of effort went into this episode, and obviously makes you wonder. Well, are they going to maybe show Enterprise D again at some point? There's a lot of effort in this.
All right, let's see what we got here. All right. There we go. We got a poll now. That's what we got. So the poll is, who liked this episode? I did. Not really. It was just sort of meh. I've never watched any Prodigy.
Yeah.
I want to see what you guys say. Who the hell said I never watched any Prodigy? It was one person because it's 4 votes. And why are you here if you haven't watched any Prodigy? You must be addicted to us. And that's fine, I guess.
So I just want to see what's happening on Twitter briefly while you said that. Turns out Sean Turnjo did a little bit of graphic work on Picard. So that's nice. Finally got a bit of official work. And Terry Matlas just released a picture of the L-Cars looking fantastic with a shot, a saucer shot of one of the ships. And I can see bloody transporter emitters finally. There's a blinky finally. It's very L-Cars-y. With the bridge dome as a back blinky and a back observation room. Don't know what it is, obviously, but it says EBS network, and it's... they actually have some details, Stuart. Oh my god.
That's awesome.
It ain't rocket science, but... sorry, just happened to see and I thought I'd say, hey, go check Twitter. That's nice.
Cool. Dave says not watched currently due to Europe. Oh, well. Spoilers.
What can they do? What can we all do?
Yeah.
But hey, yes, I will start sharing then.
Sure, yeah.
See you back in a minute.
All right, guys. Who wants that first super chat strike? Super chat in with that first strike. Much appreciated. We want to hear your thoughts on this episode while we review it. This was a fun episode, a great return to Prodigy. For many reasons, and we're going to get into those as we do the review. This is our full breakdown and review and full coverage, so hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully you guys speak up and super chatting your thoughts. It's a great way to support the channel, as you know. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell icon, and also make sure that you are notified, which the notification bell icon. You can also help us out on a monthly basis by clicking that join button. That is a great way to support us as well. Or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. Even the description down below has a bunch of links to the TeePublic store and the Teespring store and the Eagle Moss and a whole bunch of affiliate links. So if you want to check those out, you can save yourself some money, get some cool Trekyards merch, have some, swag, if you will. So yeah, please do those things and hit the like. It's a cheap and easy way to help us out. So I've got to say I'm not feeling particularly well right now, but yeah. Yes, M. Stark, yeah. So hopefully I feel better as this goes on, but right now I'm just not feeling good. So, but anyway, thank you for joining us, and sorry to anyone that hasn't seen the episode, because it was really good, and yeah. We're gonna get to those super chats in a second. Thank you guys. But yeah, hit that like button. Let's get up to 50 likes right away. We got 50 people here. It should be super easy to get there. Barely an inconvenience even. So hit that like button if you're able to, and support us that way. But yeah. We have a Samuel back. Yeah. And go vote on the poll, guys. It's really important.
It is.
But Matt Boardman snipes in with the first super chat strike of $5. This episode gave me all sorts of warm fuzzies. Guess they weren't warm furries. I mean, there's nothing wrong with furries, I guess.
I mean, some people like tribbles, okay?
That's true. That's true, actually. Yeah. Ozzy throws in $2. Enterprise D's shuttle bay doors closed. Well, we don't know that necessarily. We didn't see it. Any of them.
Well, Ozzy, did you work out your catchphrase for Prodigy yet?
We're waiting, Ozzy.
Because if this counts as the second half of the season, I thought you should another catchphrase. Because they had such a split,
Yes.
I want to see what you pick.
And Taylor T throws in an amazing $20 super chat. Awesome way to start out the live. Thank you so much. Boom. Been looking forward to this review all day. Thanks for the work, gents. I loved it. Oh, I loved when another bird of prey came out of nowhere after they detonated the warp core.
Yeah.
Seems like the test is already ready for anyone with a new idea. Oh yeah, the test it's got all its bases covered. So Dal did pretty good, though, I gotta say. He pulled a Boimler and kind of, tried everything. An unorthodox way to handle things, for sure. And I think it paid off. So.
I mean, the whole point is the test cheats.
Yeah, so you got to cheat, too.
Well, yeah.
Well, just don't reprogram the simulation, because, well, I mean, do that, because then you get accommodation for original thinking.
That one time, apart from that, it's cheating. One time.
Yeah, you got to wonder, though.
Every third officer that tries it, they're just like... And you'll think the first person, eh? Get in the queue, you were the 85th person to cheat. Actually, differently. Nope. See, at that point, I feel like there should be an inbuilt system inside the simulation that detects tampering and rechanges it. So when you think you've tampered with it, wouldn't that be kind of fun? So you go with a new confidence, and then it Fs you up when you think you win. That'd be kind of fun.
Yep. I think they would do something like that.
I think they would
too. Dave puts in £2. I'm looking forward to the insignia selection chat. We already kind of covered that in the, we did a whole live talking about that scene particularly. But yeah, we will talk about that when we get there, obviously.
Certainly get there. I had a question for you, and then we talked for a bit, which is slightly. I'm trying to remember now.
What's my favorite cheese?
What is your favorite cheese?
Probably pepper jack.
Ooh.
Or Havarti.
Okay.
Got a fancy.
It's right there with that there. All credit to you.
Yeah. Actually, no, I take that back. Kraft spray cheese. I know it's really bad for you, and it's not. It's actually it's not sold in Canada because we're smarter than that. But it's so good.
It feels like you're on the top of onto a cliff, looking at the beautiful view, and you jumped right off. Yep. You stuck the landing. The cheese up there. You're like, yeah. Hot sauce.
Good cheese.
Well, good and cheese. Let's be serious. So yeah, Prodigy. Who was waiting for this one? I know I kind of. I won't say zoned out, but we obviously get quite focused in. Oh, I was going to ask you a minute ago. But definitely we got so focused on Discovery. This definitely was a bit of a right-hand turn swap, especially as we were so used to like future stuff and seeing these weird things that you don't quite connect with the Trek universe, but it's like, oh, it's future, and that's going to be right down into the core of the universe. Is quite strange. My question I was going to say to you was describe to the fans out there how much work you put in this morning on filming and videos and what we did for them all. Because someone said thanks for all of our work. I just want to tease them how much work we did this morning.
A lot, and we could have done a lot more. Actually, we jumped on it pretty early. I was up early.
Yep.
And I'm really feeling that now. I'm not feeling well at all, just for the record. But yeah, we got some good filming in. We did have more that we could do and will do, but we're gonna have to see what next episode holds for us when those will be released. And but yeah, lots of great stuff coming up. A lot of good comparisons and. Yeah.
And let's be honest, after like 5 recordings in a row without any break in between, your brain does start to go to mush.
Yeah, it does.
Normally it's that last one is fine, and suddenly after it's like, now you can look. So
it always sucks when you think you're finished and there's like one more folder and you're like, all right, let's go.
But then you zone into it because you've got to kind of pretend each time.
Oh yeah, I started out this morning. I don't know if you noticed that first one we did.
Yeah,
I was kind of on the Enterprise D bridge. I was like, yeah, it's
you were grumpy.
I was not in a good mood.
I
was in my morning mood, and I hadn't my caffeine hadn't.
I edited a bit of it out. I'll be honest. As you can imagine, I took out some of the rough edges, but no, I did notice.
I'm sitting there like.
I was slightly carrying that one. I'll be honest.
Oh, you did, and I thank you for that because I just wasn't there for that one. I wasn't on board.
I've obviously done a bit of editing for them, and it's amazing to see the difference. But yes, caffeine does help. I mean, if you told me to record at 9, I'd be like, nope, go away. I was amazed you were awake though. It was great because we got it really done early, which was great. But
yeah.
Anyway, what was the poll again?
Oh, before we get to that, good tea, nice house, $5.
Ooh,
love letter received.
Yes.
Thank you, Prodigy writers. Live long and prosper. Yes, absolutely.
Well, in fact, let me do the actual spotlight out to his first writing Trek credit is Aaron J. Waltk. I'm assuming the K or E is silent, so Walt. Wrote this episode. He's a producer, not one of the showrunners, but one of the creative directing sort of sides of the show. This was his first full-on writing credit, and what a hell of a out the gate. I did. I summarize before we get to the review, just in terms of the writing quality. No scene felt superfluous. Every single moment, cut to bit, had a distinct purpose and narrative. And we have talked about Discovery where this scene went on too long or had felt a bit fillery, as you would often say. This one felt so in the zone. Everything meant something. That's hard to do and not done that often. So, yeah, good job.
Indeed. Yeah. We got some answers, but answers lead to more questions, unfortunately.
Speaking of your answer, I'll lead to another question. So what do you think of this episode overall, Stuart? Tell the fans!
Loved it. I say that a lot, but this one was like was just stated there from Good Tea, Nice House. A love letter to the fans. They are fans of the show, the people that are working on this, and much like the Lower Decks team. And I got to give them all the credit in the world. They really know what people want to see. Was it fan servicey? A lot of people might argue that point and say that it was and it was unnecessary. I disagree. I think it was fantastic. So I really enjoyed this one. And it wasn't just the characters in the holodeck sequences either. It was the whole thing, even leading up to the kind of moment where which we'll get into. But that opens up a whole new can of worms, which is going to make the show fantastic because there's going to be some really cool story going on here. So yeah, I thought it was great. How about you?
Yeah, it was a real, like I said, breath of fresh air compared to Discovery. While it's been fun, this was a whole different level of fun. And to also re-engage the audience, to come back with such a bang. The holodeck stuff, I don't like the word fan service now. It's kind of been overused as a pejorative, a negative thing. It's don't they make shows to be watched by the fans that watch them?
That's the idea.
Do you not think they made Spider-Man or Avengers for the fans? Is that not literally the point of the entertainment, is to make money and to be sold and for people to watch it? You don't make Avengers Endgame for random people who've never seen Avengers. So how can we say, oh, this and this is fan service? No, it's just a good moment in a decade-long exploration. And so having, Spock be science isn't fan service. It's, yes, he's the best science officer. It would pick him. There's no fan service there. There's just the logicalness of it. Ha ha ha. So I don't like that as a word now. It's been overused for sure. This episode, and this episode, Lower Decks can sometimes throw in stuff like the Spock helmet that feels a bit, well, that's definitely a reference to the reference. Everything in this episode was logical and thought out and interactive and neat. So I give them all the credit in the world for that. The balance was so well in line, and it's hard to do. And I think they were able to create the equivalent of a Lower Decks episode, but felt more legitimate, almost like more like a live action version. The benefit of not having to build the sets, so they got to do all of the stuff you couldn't do. Because boy, Picard or Discovery wouldn't build another. When we saw in Discovery, they will not build new sets most times if they need to do a quick thing, or Whereas they better pray, better pray. We'll just do a really epic moment there. So it was really, 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 really fun, and it needed the end scene. It really did, to kind of give it that oomph. But once you got the whole package, just like that was great, and I'm really excited to see what the hell I reviewed the last part of the season. To see what I'd give it this, because that was a little while ago now.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's back. That's all I can say. I've missed Prodigy, and they haven't let me down yet, really.
Would it be fair to say you didn't know how much you missed it until you saw this episode?
I'd say that's fair enough, yeah.
Yeah. This was good. So speaking of, the episode starts off with just go back a second. So they entered, they used the proto drive at the end of the last episode, and it oomphed away, still in the warp corridor, which is worth noting. There's a little side from that in a minute, and it zooms out in the same effect, and then we know what warp looks like. It comes out in a star effect, out of subspace. In this version, they kind of proto warp drive, whatever, in like a cloudy, portal-y something.
Looks like an eye. It looks like an iris.
It does look an eye, which is in the tile sequence, like eye imagery. But it's not exactly a warp thing, but it is somewhat reminiscent of warp. Like, it isn't like a transwarp opening conduit. Like, it has a certain oomph feel, but it came out right at the tail end, whereas warp, it kind of, like, they don't literally come out of a star. That's an abstract thing in the distance. This was like oomph, right out of a thing. So, nice effect. And the proto drive comes down. It doesn't dismantle. It stays. Like, the engines reform, but the actual drive itself stays in place until they manually change to impulse, which is interesting. I don't know what that says about the drive being used or not being used.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't all automatic.
Yeah. Ozzy throws in $2. No feet on the torpedo button. Yeah, well, it's always a good roll.
Yes.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I think they do say that we'll get to that in a second. Yeah. The drive is inoperable, and it's like, I think it just needs time to recharge.
Well, they're super vague about it on purpose. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then we get wow, that was a ride. How far, what do we do? And Jank and Pog says something about warp. Read out the warp line, because that's another bit of evidence,
Well, yeah, I wish he would have kept going.
Yeah, seriously.
How fast were we going? He says, around warp 9 point... I'm going to puke. So, we don't get an answer.
But we were still at warp. The readouts read warp. We didn't go to some other thing. We didn't change dimension drives. We were still at warp. And we've talked about how warp is exponential. So if you go at warp 9 point, that little X20, that's going to be so much faster. And so maybe this drive does just give you a temporary warp boost at like warp 9.99999999999. I mean, that's certainly not radical, and the third boost just gets that boost. I mean, I was kind of surprised they maintained the warp language, because, I mean, I know that's what they're used to, but the console tells them the information. It would say proto drive warp transwarp, it would say it, and so presumably it says warp 9 point, and he doesn't finish a sentence. Like, he's reading off a panel.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's still a warp system.
It's interesting. It's an enhanced warp, then that's cool.
Which is what the Equinox had. We have no idea what it meant, but they travelled very, very far, very, very quickly with enhanced warp, so, it is possible.
Yeah.
I liked that. I thought it was a good thing.
Hold on a second. I gotta go see what the hell's going on.
Yes, you would. And then we get some other displays. Proto-core. We hear it's a proto drive, but we already sort of guessed that. Very odd displays, but you know, fun. And can't decipher them really. But yes, they've gone very, very far. And they deconstruct. Oh, there we go. That's one. See. Oh, there's also messages in this. Auxiliary fusion generator's fuel assembly turbine. Proto-synchronized proton signal. Oh, dear me. But they lament for a second about the dad. Sad. And they discuss how far they've gone.
Yeah, 4,000 light years. Boom. And somebody said, well, they went from the Delta to the Gamma Quadrant. We don't know where they were in the Delta Quadrant. They could have been very near the Gamma Quadrant. So, but yeah, there's a readout that who's the Medusan? What's the Medusan's name?
Zero,
yeah, I was looking at, and it's like this circle with a bunch of other circles in it. It says protodrive has gone offline and inoperable, and it looks very much like a nuclear reactor as far as all the little things in it. So I don't know if those like slowly fill up, but it's quite an interesting display actually. So
definitely weird. But no, it's interesting the way they do this map, because 4,000 light years is a long way. It's a substantial distance. I believe they said it was, you know, months and months, or you know, years of Voyager speed. But the way they present this map, the way it's implied is it crossed over from the Delta to the Gamma Quadrant. That's the visual we're given here. There isn't a borderline, but if there's no distinct borderline because it always shifts because of whatever, that's what I got from this. They were on the edge. We already know they're, you know, the behind the scenes people have said they're on the edge of the Delta and Alpha Quadrant. They were, and obviously the edge could still be 500 light years. That's still the edge in the galactic scale. I've got nothing against that. And so 4,000 light years is a substantial distance, and so I'm very happy to say they were near the core, which we've already gone to, closer to the Alpha Quadrant, but then they jumped to the Gamma Quadrant, and it's still 4,000 light years. So I'm very happy to say they're in the Gamma Quadrant now, which is exciting. Dominion around there, or not, or they could always drive right back. But I would assume that on both of the edges, like Delta Quadrant species, will also go into the Gamma Quadrant on the edge, so we can still see Hirogen and all these guys without any sort of real hassle. But yeah, 4,000 light years in unknown amount of time. We assume over a minute.
So, yeah, I'd say around a minute, because they were still all screaming like after they did the thing. So it was very quick.
Yeah.
Even though it was like weeks for us. Anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
Like the look on your face, you're like, what?
Where was I? Yeah. Oh, I was right here with you, Stuart. Oh, never leave aside. Oh.
Well, and the thing is too, there could be a temporal connection to this drive. They could have literally like kind of jumped in time at the same time they engaged it. So 1,000 light years in a normal amount of time, but it compresses the time for you. Don't know if that's the case. We know there's some temporal time travel shenanigans later.
Yeah.
And if it's focused around this drive, who knows what it's capable of, right? So
no, absolutely, and we know there's some timey-wimey stuff in it, as they've said. But this was really interesting and gave us a sense of its power. Although it does kind of feel as if that was the length of the boost, as if they didn't shut it down, it shut itself down, because that's how long it can run for. That's kind of the sense I got from this scene.
Yeah, it seems like it almost, and like that also ties in what I just said. It could have been running for, according to the fuel gauge, quite a long time, but if the drive compresses the time down for you, it makes the trips really quick. But then how would that, you would have to slip out of real time space to actually do that, so it doesn't, you're not like weeks in the future. But who knows? I don't know.
I don't know. But I got the sense when it comes out of proto warp, there you go, all the lights were off as if it had used its energy, whereas previously there's a lot of lights. So I think that's kind of what I'm going for here. It can boost. I'm assuming it can do less than 4,000 light years, but it's a jump drive. It's a boost drive. It's A to B in 5 easy steps.
Yeah.
Every couple of days. But the way they play this sequence later, they don't know. It's just not working anymore. Not broken. It's just out of power. Needs to recharge. Needs more fuel, etc. Needs something. So it's not a god drive, just a escape drive. Which is funny because Horizon is the exact opposite. It can go very fast for a long period of time. This can go very fast for a short amount of time. Kind of the other take.
Yeah. And I love how they're like, not even a juiced up starship can do that. You gotta be kidding me. And how'd they do that? And Janeway's like, I have no idea.
Yeah, her confusion's really fun in this scene. She is as one of the crew as everyone else in this situation. Even if she is also the ship. But then the Doctor didn't know what Voyager was doing, so they're obviously pretty segmented as well. But it's a fun vibe. Everyone's like, huh? I'm on the ship too, and it can do this? Shit.
Yeah, no shit. Vero of Invictus, $2. Prodigy, you hurt me so much with this episode. Cry your face, and then love.
What?
Oh, okay. So, no, I think he meant in a good way.
I don't know.
Made him feel the feels for the peoples that are no longer with us.
Oh, well, yes. The sun in the end was. And Brian asks, how does the 4,000 light years a minute compare to other fast ships in the series? Real fast. Not even comparable. I mean, you've got the only comparable thing I would say is the Borg transport network, where it was able to go like tens of thousands of light years in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
But that's like highest end transwarp. So.
Yeah. IMEC, $10.
Oh, thank you.
It'd be fun if they had to actually capture small protostars to refuel it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they might go the Stargate approach and sort of fly into a star. Possible.
It has a beryllium sphere drive for quick boost, so that's good.
Oh my goodness. Absolutely.
Well, then we get the cup in this game.
In brand spanking HD.
But he's just doing captain stuff, don't you know?
It's true. It looks the same.
It does.
It hasn't been updated at all. It's great. Now this was a real curveball. I was kind of taken out of it for a minute with this moment. I'll be honest with you. What do you think?
Nah, I wasn't taken out of it. I thought it was a nice little nod for sure. And then it's referred to again later, which is kind of fun with the way that's done as well. So, and yeah, Vero of Invictus did confirm that yes, the fields. Okay. So it didn't hurt him, but it hurt him.
Hurt him in a good way. And I mean, we did talk about this very recently. I know it was probably for Lower Decks, but I can't remember the context. I always thought this was an exclusive Alpha Quadrant device built specifically by those people to infect people. But the fact this thing got into the Delta Quadrant, or it was a personal possession of a captain on the ship, but there was no possessions everywhere else. Although now we know there was a crew. I guess Chakotay might have had one in his captain's. We found it in a desk.
It could have been replicated. Val could have said, I want to play a game, or I'm bored.
Do you want to play a game?
This is on file, yeah.
Want
me to teach you a lesson?
Yeah. But it's such an Alpha Quadrant thing to have in the Delta Quadrant. It feels so out of kilter. And obviously it's known to be addictive. I assume this is a non-addictive version.
Oh yeah, they took the addictive stuff out.
But the context is, we just watched the episode. It's such a dark episode. It feels so strange. Yeah. But I do like the fact that you can't win the game. I'm assuming maybe the reason it was so part of the episode was they made it so easy that it was addictive. Yeah. Maybe it's actually a much harder game in real life, and that's it's a challenging. It's kind of like Pac-Man is still fun. It's really freaking simple. It's hard. Yeah. Maybe it's their version of Pac-Man.
Only Pac-Man, every time you eat a ghost, doesn't pump you full of endorphins and make you feel really good and just forget everything you're doing and
But if it did, you'd play Pac-Man more.
Absolutely. That's actually why they use certain sound effects in old Atari games, because they actually trigger positive responses in your brain, so you want to hear the sound. It's an addictive thing. So anyway, this scene's great because everybody comes in and they're basically all like, "We want to go, go to the Federation."
Yes, please.
And Dal is like, "No." That we just, we stole their ship essentially. And they're like, "No, but we're refugees. They'll understand." Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I think it's great. Everybody's kind of on board the Federation train. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how soon we're gonna get there, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a good conversation. But since they offer security, why wouldn't you want to go there? Oh yeah, because we stole their ship. Well, we did.
They even say they'd be able to help us with protect us from the Diviner, but your captain says no, and it's a self-appointed captain.
Yep. Yeah, it didn't take us long to kind of get to that, and I appreciate that. There's a good momentum here of main story. We had a bit of meandering in the last couple, but this was nice. But also, none of them want to be captain either. And obviously Gwen doesn't want to take the mantle yet. So there was like a, well, you're not captain. Well, do you want to be captain? Oh, no.
Yeah.
You know, Rock Dog's not going to be captain, is he? Or she?
Well, but where's Murph? Murph hasn't voted.
Yeah.
And this is funny because when I saw this scene, Murph like out in the snowstorm, I'm like, oh my god, did they like phase through? Like, did Murph phase and ended up on a planet, and they got to go back and rescue him, or because there's no context here yet, because they're searching the ship for him, and it's like, oh no, poor Murph. But yeah, it's quickly resolved. But
and beautiful visual. I mean, we've said many a time the art quality here is excellent, and the rendering quality, and just this is a great looking snowscape, but still stylized. And then you get a little bit of a Where's Everyone, and we see the Jeffries tubes again, which is a great reference shot. I'm really glad we got that. And we get a good scene, although this scene works better at the end of the episode, and it's a setup, but you kind of like, I don't really care so much about their relationship. I wasn't quite back in the episode yet, but you know, they say, oh well, you know, thanks for saving me. Well, I mean, Janeway said I have to. She's like,
Janeway said we had to, yeah.
Oh, and real hurt in her voice, but
oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. But then he says, yeah, we cleared a bunk for you, so like, you're kind of a member of the team now. When you're done in here moping around.
Exactly, brought them around because I mean, at that point, you know, a bunk with them. It's not as if they're, not with him. He's the captain, but yeah, she's real sad because she's still reading from her father chose the ship over her, let her die, and then just left everything she's ever known, and how long away. It's like being stuck in the Delta Quadrant to the Alpha Quadrant. It's like, and now I'm just shit,
like a leaf on the wind. Captain Chili Bina has been a member for 14 months at the rank of captain.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Been a while since I caught a live.
Hey,
good to see you, gents. I love this episode. Great that animated new Trek is both respectful of canon and fun to watch.
Great summary. Definitely respectful to canon. No, I loved how he found the holodeck. He was like, "What is this room? What?"
Yeah.
So honest. We're also out of focus again. I'm sorry.
Am I?
Oh, we're back in. Hey, good. It knew.
Focus. So they find the holodeck. They find Short and Slimy, as he's called. And Murph is getting the hell out of there. He doesn't like the cold. So.
Yep.
Yeah. But then Janeway takes them on a little bit of a holodeck ride. Captain Chili Bina, $20. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
And also belated Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hope you had a good one.
Very kind. Really, all sport does make a big difference.
Yeah.
Now, is that?
We got a big.
That isn't the arch. That's just the door. It's interesting.
Yeah, it just looks like the door. Yeah.
But
then we get a wide shot of the room, and it's curved. So it's kind of like a brand new style of holodeck that we've never seen before.
Yeah, I like it more now I've seen the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But part of having it be a square blank room, it saves space. Having it be a big curved room wastes a lot of space. Now it might be on like the outer edge. It might be part of where that just might be the hull, but why put it at the edge? I still think they need every emitter should have had the yellow though. All those little dots at the end should have been yellow. That would have added. Or like they've got so many white stripes make them yellow. I think it would have made a difference. But it feels more like a training area. Obviously, it reminisces of the Voyager one, but way more bland, clinical. I don't know. It's nice enough. And so
it feels kind of industrial. It doesn't feel like polished.
That's good.
Like the Galaxy class.
I like that, definitely. And I mean, you can see the size. This is a big holodeck. This is probably on par with the biggest Voyager ones, and it's at least 2 decks, if not 3 decks. This is. I mean, this ship is taking up room with this stuff so quick. This is a huge. This might be 5% of the entire ship's internal volume. Probably more than that.
The ship is not big, as we've seen from the bay, the shuttle bay.
But if you know, okay, we only got this much space, a holodeck gives you infinite space, and you can escape more. So, prioritizing a holodeck does make sense, but yeah.
And she takes them on a bit of a ride through with skydiving on City Alpha 5.
City Alpha 5! I kind of wish we'd seen something of the ground, of the dunes.
Yeah.
I was kind of disappointed we didn't see anything of the, but still fun.
And then we get the fight in a Cali Fee gladiatorial match. Now, it was great to hear the reference. This is from my mock time, obviously, but the Cali Fee I always assumed was the one-on-one fighting over a woman thing, but the Cali Fee gladiatorial match is interesting. I think they might have just thrown that in as, this is something people will know. And you got the same weapons, of course, and some kind of monster in the back there, but...
So this is meant to be Vulcan then, because I didn't think it was called a Cali Fee gladiator match. I was like, well, that's not Vulcan. I just thought they would
No. Okay. Yeah, it is Vulcan. You can tell by like the skyline and stuff in the back.
Well, I mean, when you say that, but Cell Alpha 6 looked very similar 5 seconds ago, so it's hard to...
Yeah, that's true.
Because it fell from one ownership. So, but was it the same? That same architecture we saw in a mock time, just fancier?
It's similar, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool.
Oh, and then we defeat Count Dracula, and you get this gothic castle. Cool.
Honestly, I instantly thought that was, which it obviously wasn't. I instantly got, oh, is that the oh god, what's his name? Zukal's holodeck home in Discovery Season 3, the bit where they fight the monster. I was like, oh, it looks like Zukal's home. Remember the actual monastery place they filmed in whatever? I was like, oh, is that? No, it can't be that. I just got the same imagery from that. But yes, Dracula was quite funny.
And the Jane Eyre holo novel, one of my favorites. Ugh.
And I thought they were literally going to have it be the one she did in Voyager. I thought it was a bit of a swing and a miss on this one. Conceptually, I was like, I know it's going to be a similar thing, but it should have been the same program. Would have been fun.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but that's totally a matte painting with a CG man. They didn't do that. That's all out of focus. That's just a painting, a CG painting. Oh my god, yeah. Even the people, I'm scrolling between 2 frames. They're just being scrolled to the left, which is absolutely valid. It really, really works because the guy's brilliant, but you don't need to build an entire house. That's just a painting. It's fantastic.
Then we get a Deadwood, South Dakota, 1885. Deadwood Resort. I have that screen cap because of the. And then the Paxo Resort.
From Voyager, and then Maru, Kobayashi Maru. I do think Gemma's a great reaction here. Kind of poker faces him a bit, but although she's totally honest, it's like, well, it is a bit advanced for you, because it is.
For the greatest captains in Starfleet.
Oh yeah, he really thinks he is, despite not being a captain, not being in Starfleet, and not even being old enough to drive a ship. But hey, he's confident. Yeah. That's half of it.
That's good though.
Well, Kirk made captain at 22, so. Yes.
Captain. He wasn't a captain 22. He was captain 32.
No, JJ captain.
Oh.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's like, you sure you don't want something more your
speed?
The silly little Conan disc game instead?
Rude. No, he'll do it. He's great.
Yeah.
I do quite like
her. She's got a smile on her face like, yeah, you're going to fail. Bye.
Oh, yeah, you're going to fail. I do quite like this art, just wish it was smaller.
Yeah.
And we get the epic reveal you always saw on the trailer, and it's as glorious as it was then.
Yeah.
And choose the form of your destructor. I mean, pick your crew.
That's funny. What did you do, Ray?
Well, still, no Discovery badges. No Enterprise era badge.
No, Deadwood is from Fistful of Datas. Okay. Thanks, Prodigy.
Boom. Yeah, just to note, no Discovery era badges here. They're all original, prime continuity.
Wow.
Everything is.
There's Future Imperfect. There's
still prime continuity, just not prime universe.
True. Yes.
I don't know if that's conscious or not, but there's no Discovery because that should.
No split deltas.
Well, exactly. That should be in here theoretically, because they were a delta for a while, but nope, not included. What does that say? Don't know. Maybe this is properly original universe. Who knows? That said, though, they did have Discovery release a Crossfield episode like 4, so they literally had Discovery in it, and then don't have it here. Weird. Oh dear, the next scene.
the next scene. Oh yes, Murph is hungry as usual, and eats some photon grenades, which I didn't think would be a problem, honestly, but it's kind of funny. We'll get into the what happens later with it, but
yeah, this was fun for a few reasons. One, I just like the fact that we just get to walk around the ship, but why the hell have they got 3 boxes of like 100 grenades? Given that no Starfleet command officers ever have photon grenades, that's only a tactical team thing, we can assume.
It could be it's a specialty ship. We find out later it's a prototype, so who knows what their mission was, right?
But that's what I'm saying. This is clearly a hint towards... Well, and if those other boxes are there, they've got literally hundreds of grenades, which are not standard issue, clearly not replicatable, because otherwise we wouldn't bring them in physical boxes across the galaxy.
Let's not forget, too, I mean, this is one thing that annoys me.
Yeah.
Earlier, when they dumped all their weight, they just like, everything out to space.
Oh, yeah.
So, whatever. We're going to forget about that.
But they didn't. But I don't think they opened the cargo bay door, though. But that is true.
But, I mean, if you're going to order the ship to dump all the weight, you might beam stuff out. I don't know. It just bothers me a little bit.
Well,
so.
I mean, if it's a tactical mission, then the bombs are pretty... They're not, it's beyond the torpedoes. So there you go. Maybe you can't beam them. Maybe they're anti-beam proof, because that would be, you know, you throw them on a baddie's vessel, they just beam them out. But this tells this is a big clue. This was a tactical mission to Delta Quadrant. This was offense. This was aggression. Maybe it was Borg. Maybe it was Hirogen. Something bigger here, because you do not have this many high-end weapons that are never on ships, except tactical teams. Yeah.
We have 111 people here with 73 likes, guys. Hit that like button. Let's get up to 100 likes. We can do it.
Which also might explain why they have specialist phasers with way more settings. Because they're not normal phasers, clearly. And we've seen now the normal uniforms. We know they're not like a retcon phaser. They're just a new phaser. And we know they're kind of prototype by the look of them. So if they're really, really, really capable, then they need, a tactical mission needs tactical kit. That all kind of flows. And building shuttlecraft on the go to help them fly in a mission. I mean, it all kind of starts to tie in more. Anyway.
Yeah. Create what you need on the fly. So who knows what they were expecting. Then we find out that her leg has healed, which is curious for Zero. But yeah, pretty cool medical scanner. And Zero says you're now in perfect health. So why have you not left sickbay? Because I'm sad. It's like, why sad? Well, on a ship that can translate anything, why do you need somebody who knows languages? And Zero says, well, it's all about interpretation. So it was a nice little moment here.
It was really nice, but what I heard was, it takes plot device later on. It takes plot device later on. Literally all I heard, even the way it's said. It's great, but it's like, oh, that's going to be this episode. But it was cute. And she hasn't done much so far this season, but it's very relatable. So we've broken down to come back up. And now we know she's a clone, a grown clone. Getting past the initial who she is quite an important thing. So, yeah. Yeah.
Then we get the reveal of this star date, 43929.9, which was 17 years ago.
And this was a mic drop.
Yes. We find out the Diviner has been growing weaker by the day. That's fine. We got to find it. We got to find the ship. Many have failed before, and years wasted. So we're assuming at least another 3 years on top of that. 17.
At least.
So we're just round it to 20. It's probably more by the fact
which
that...
is season 1 of TNG.
Yes,
if 20.
That stardate goes back to season 1 of TNG. Just as Harry Kim is entering Starfleet, by the way. So interesting little... And there's something going on here. They've been searching for the protostar, but 20 years ago.
But Stuart, how is Captain Chakotay with a Captain Jamie hologram in the Delta Quadrant 20 years ago? He was still in Starfleet. He hadn't even joined the Maquis yet. How is that possible, Stuart?
There must be time travel shenanigans afoot.
Yes.
Yeah. Misha, though, is here. Hey, Misha, how's it going?
Hey,
$10. Ooh. My meeting ended a bit early. Well, that's good. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Excellent.
Hit the like button, guys.
Let us know
120 people here, 82 likes. We can easily hit 100 likes.
And do you want to read out the poll results and I'll do a new poll?
Ooh, who liked this episode? 84% said I did. 3% said not really. That's like one person, one vote. Well, maybe more than that, because 2% said was sort of meh. and 10% said never watch any Prodigy, which
Oh,
is probably
okay.
sad because probably in like Europe, and that's you shouldn't. Your spoilers here, guys.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't matter to people, but that's okay.
Very cool. Excellent. I'm going to start a new poll while you talk about the next scene, because I mean the conversation between the two of them is really interesting, and it also makes Deadlock feel way less of a subordinate and more of a partner,
Mm-hmm.
which is
More like a caretaker almost, like
mm.
a bodyguard. Well, yeah, he is a bodyguard, but
Uh,
yeah,
well, the assigned artificial life form to help him in his
yeah,
work, who has a say in these matters, which I thought was really interesting, because he kind of just felt like an assassin, give or take, in the previous episodes. I really liked the development there, because what did he say? No, it goes against the orders. Like there's really
it goes again. Yeah, he says, yeah, even if the protostar is here, it might take us a while because you're failing in health. We might not even find it. Um, and Diviner says, then I will make a progeny. And he says, no, we cannot defy the order, which the order sounds like a group of people that are in charge, or just a creed of sorts. And we find out that he's the last of his species, and the species will die with him. And what of the order then? So Deadlock goes on to say that an offspring's a liability, emotions can be exploited, and we're so close to finding it. Please do this for me, he says, and then we get the cloning process. So TX Stevens, hey, how's it going? Texas Stevens is here, $5. Every time I see Zero, all I can think about is Dal using him as a flashlight when they were on the Nightmare Planet. Hilarious. And I Am Me C throws in $5. Want some of those comm badges. Weren't some of those comm badges from 2390s as well? 2390. You mean the relativity ones? Yes. Which, yeah, I mean, that's a time ship. So, SES Guru, 2005 euros. From Dreadnought's comment, that many have failed before. It could be possible that they have been searching for the protostar for several generations. Absolutely. That's the thing. It's at least a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we just rounded up to 20 for now, because we don't know.
Yeah, we're being real generous at that.
Yeah, it does sound like either there's a mad scramble, or there's a bunch of people looking for it at the same time, or they have literally been looking for it forever, even his species that have all died out since as a result, and he's the last left. So, and maybe they need the protostar for some reason to survive.
And this is a whole live discussion, easily.
And, yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, if the ship is capable of time travel, that could be. We've talked about this already in our speculation videos, that he could be trying to save his people, which makes him not necessarily a bad guy. You know what I mean? So,
or even just like jump back to their planet, which he doesn't know. He assumes it's been destroyed, but it's 100,000 light years away. He'll never get there by himself. But it's interesting if he can just clone another person very quickly. 17 years, because it's a time jump. It's not literal. It's because she's 17. It was 17 years ago, so it's real time.
Yeah, it's very confusing though, because it seems like they make her and then they like advance her age really quick, almost. But that's not what's happening, I don't think.
No, they needed a shot of her like in a towel, like at 10 or like some whatever. Well, I kind of got the sense that he had to be in the tube the whole time. Like he had to give a lot of his personal energy.
Well, earlier when he came out, she was amazed that he was out of the thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Like that was a lot of. But maybe he's also a clone, and he was made to be the last by his. He was the progeny of his descendant, who was also looking for it. So it might be a case of, maybe the whole race died, one survived. The only way to solve it is a pro-drive or whatever. And he was meant to be the last. Deadlock has been with them for 500 years, and because that'd be really. I mean, hey, Chakotay Protostar went back to the 2150s or 1920s or 1066. I mean, that's certainly interesting. I mean, Chakotay's a bit dead at that point. Captain Chakotay. Depends where he came back from. But hell, a lot of story potential, and we'll sure do a live on that. Because this curveball was super, super good. I mean, it's a whole series a ton more interesting.
And they do say the name of the race, the Vau Nakat.
Mm-hmm.
Casual Trekker, though, throws in $5.
Thank
you so much. I think I'll bring a valid reason why they can't go back to the Federation, because the events that led to them having the ship have not occurred yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's super possible. But it's a good sequence, and it really helps to humanize the guy. And I think it does explain a little bit of why she was so loyal to him up until the moment of literally pushed her away to let her die, because she is from his DNA. They share so much meaning. It only took the absolute epitome of no daughter, I reject you because I've been sent to the ship for hundreds of years, that then turned her. But there'll be definitely something to play with her being a clone-based entity. It's exciting. Yeah. And guys, vote in the poll, because I asked the question of, Protocol was buried 17 years ago. What a curveball. What do you think of this time travel reveal? Answers, potentials, loved it. It was okay. Don't like it. Time travel, lazy plot ideas. Put in your thoughts. I want to get at least 100 votes because this was a great curveball to me.
And yeah, hit the like button, guys. We need 9 more likes to get to 100. So easily doable.
But do we need a James T to come help us? Or are we a bit full right now of personnel?
Oh, we're full up on captains right now.
We are.
We'd be upstaged. Yeah, nice reference to Kirk there for a second. So
yeah. I don't like, I know it's a small thing, I don't like the fact that they haven't decided who they want yet, and clearly the 4 pictures are the 4 pictures they're going to get, even though they haven't decided who they're getting yet. Small thing, it would have been nice if had like other logos, because that is the 4, and then they decide the 4. Small thing, it's just a graphical hitch.
Yeah.
But then, some people appear, Stuart. Oh my god! Who appears?
Oh my god. Populating crew, I love it. So yeah, we get they introduced him. Communications Officer Uhura at Ops. Chief Medical Officer Beverly Crusher. And Security Chief Odo.
I love his line is
he's just great, yeah, it's so Odo.
And a very, very tall Spock. Who Dal likes, because he doesn't like Spock. Boy, he's tall in this set.
He looks odd too. Like we have a video coming out about the look. It's stylized for sure, but anyway.
Although what a cool shot here, just seeing him on the bridge. But yeah, they've definitely misscaled it a little bit.
Squadron Course, $2. Hey. Root for the legacy characters and voice actors.
Yeah, and what was great here is that the uniforms weren't retconned. They weren't JJ or Discovery version TOS. It was all exactly as it should be. Some subtle mistakes, but subtle mistakes. Everything was exactly how you would expect if a fan was looking at the history and making a Star Trek reference. Exactly as it should be, which is as it should be. You don't get points for that. It's how it should be. Except for Discovery, who now is the singular case against. Because we've now seen TOS in TOS, TNG, DS9, Voyager, give or take Voyager, Lower Decks, and Prodigy. Discovery's the odd one out. We're even more doubling down. So, just saying.
Dave puts in £2. Which version of the D is this? Movie or TV? Well, it's not movie because there's no consoles on the side of the bridge. It's TV. We don't know which season, though. They did change a lot of things, little subtle things each season. So we're not sure.
I think it's pretty late season. We kind of only expect if you think back, because you don't really remember the early versions as much because they kind of finished the look in the end.
Hit like, guys. We need 9 more likes to get to 100. We can easily do it. We have 118 people, 120 people here right now. So hit that like button. It felt like a Star Trek Online promo. Yeah, it actually felt like a Timelines ad.
Yeah.
Star Trek.
They're done. Yeah.
Yeah. Or even a Star Trek Fleet Command or something. Yeah.
Although their character models are slightly more
on
point, which is a bit weird, but that's okay. And what made my heart sing, it's another reference, you had the Star Trek 2 dude. Just that guy. The Kobayashi official dialogue. Just pull it straight from the movie.
Yeah.
It was good for him. I hope that whoever voiced it, as in the universe, whoever voiced it, his voice is still the guy 150 years later. He's still the guy.
Well, I love the tactical display, even the classification of the registry. All that is exactly like it is in the movie Star Trek 2. So it was really nice, yeah. It
was beautiful. Although it does say 300 passengers here, and you say later it says 80.
87, yeah.
I guess they could be dying in droves, but that feels like a slight...
Well, this is crew 81, so I don't know. And this is what, like I said, when I play Bridge Crew, this is the number you're dealing with. You got to get as many off as you can. The most we ever got off of the ship was 167 before we died, which is really damn good. So if there's only 87, I'd be like, yes, get the hell back over that border.
Yeah.
But
I love you've got even the length and such. Was that in the movie as well?
Yep. It's all there. Yeah.
Okay. No, it's great. It's really that kind of got my like that was the added detail that kind of got my bonus canon happiness, because they easily would have been in their rights to make this modern, do holograms, to update it, keeping it absolutely faithful, show that they like doing as in the universe. Like the simulation is meant to be classic for a reason.
It's odd because in a second Spock pulls up the thing on his console, and he says, "I'm reading 87 lives, Captain." And if you look, you got the master of the ship, Kajiro Vance, crew 87. Even though the last thing just said crew 81 with 300 passengers. So he's reading 87 life signs. That's what the crew... yeah. Anyway.
And that's quite cool. It says warp factor, WF6.
Yeah, warp factor 6.
That's cool. Never heard it at WF. But it's a great side view.
Stephen W. Fathry, $5. Just wanted to say hi and throw some support. If anyone's interested, we will be discussing this episode in 2 hours on the Text Trek stream. I haven't checked any of those out yet, Stephen. I got to try that sometime. But usually when we're done these, I got to go eat and, hang out with Sylvia. And,
I mean, I'm kind of done with the...
Yeah.
When we're done, we're done. But let me find that and post a link, because we certainly want to...
that's great.
Where is
support the other creators, man.
So you did one 5 days ago, but they haven't got one scheduled yet for now. If you have a link for the new one... Hey, Starfleet Boys are like co-host. That's fun. I guess he came back after his parents didn't want to do stuff anymore. I guess I remember his last reason.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, here's the videos. Let me go on the main channel. Here is the link. See what they think.
Yeah, I love how Dal's like, does anyone know these people? Quick show of hands. Yeah, it's as easy. Then we're not gonna go. So.
Because is this the bit where Crusher explains it's about the Klingons, etc.? Is that later? I thought that was pretty early on.
What do you mean about the Klingons? Sorry.
Well, she explains why the interest is important, the Klingons, and you can't go over it.
She says that, they said that a second ago, I think. Hold on.
So, and just to be clarity, everyone here is using stock audio clips from various episodes and movies in case of and then Nimoy. But Gates of Hand did come back and record new dialogue, because it's really helpful to have somebody who can do new dialogue in a scene. Yeah. And they did. I think I kind of underused her a little bit, but almost appropriate amount. It would be nice to have a couple more lines. Like that.
All she says here is, "I'm reading 87 lives, Captain. Shields failing, hull breach imminent." And that's where he's like, "Anybody know these people? Show of hands."
Yeah, I guess later she
matter. Yeah. Here it is. She says, "Their lives hang on what we do, or what this vessel fails to do," as Spock says. So.
Yeah, she says something more bigger later, but it's true. He doesn't. He hasn't got the same core values. So saying, "Well, is it our problem? Is your mum and dad on the ship? No, we'll just warp out." And everyone's pretty against this plan. I'll be honest. Even though
who is like, "I don't care whether it's allowed or not. I want to do it. I will do it." And Ordo's like, "I'm just going to resign. Resigning my commission."
And it's so funny because that was such a powerful moment in DS9. I remember it well, and it's like such an almost jokey moment here. Because, like, dude, the first thing you're doing is resigning. Calm down, man. Calm down.
And then Dal's like, "Fine, go. Let's go." And then it's like, "Are you sure you want to do that? We could start a war." "But you just told me to go in there."
Yeah, that was a wonderful back and forth. I hope I hope the voice actor appreciates that he might be the last person that ever talks to Odo on the screen, Renee. Yeah. Because he's been dead for a couple of years. Like, I hope he appreciates how special that is. I'm just saying.
Well, then Odo's line is, "We have 2 Klingon ships closing aft of us." You can hear the Defiant. You can hear the music a little bit. The voice clip.
Oh.
And then all of a sudden, 3D cloak. And I'm like, really? And then Spock says, "Oh, we're surrounded." Well, are you? How do you get surrounded with 3 ships facing you in the exact same thing? Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. It's fine.
Yeah, trying to find matching dialogue was clearly impossible because they failed. But it does seem odd.
They did go with what they had, though, honestly. So.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit odd when it canonly breaks its own scene, but it's still great, And we'll be doing a full comparison of this bird of prey later. Although they never quite give us a close-up, which I'm kind of disappointed about, given how nice the model overall looks. And I like also he says, how do they appear? He doesn't know what cloaking device is. I like that. That might come into play at some point.
Yeah.
And yes, they get blowed up. And it's, But how do you think he did, Stuart? How do you think he did?
Not so good. Not so good.
But he... No, he didn't do too well.
No.
And look, the computer scanned his face at some point, and he's got a grumpy face as his representation. Because I'm sure he didn't approve a facial scan. He's just grumpy, man.
I love how they freaked out and said, "Oh yeah, simulation." Yeah.
Well,
he knew the whole time.
They're no head of holodecks either, so it's all like, wow, cool.
Yeah. And then Captain Assessment score 3%, Leadership 2%, and Judgment 0.1%.
That's so bad.
It's freaking great. I wish there was a final one though for the last one that he did.
Yeah.
Who actually blows up the Enterprise, because I think it would have been like Boimler, that ever increasing, like almost there. So
yeah, for sure. Definitely fun. And he says, "Yep, do it again."
Captain Casey Stewart said technically he's right. One was not cloaked and two decloaked. No, they all decloaked, all three of them.
Yeah. And also, they weren't cloaked a second ago because they didn't detect them, so they had to all decloak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jake and Pog's like, I want to tell the whole crew, I want to blast this out to everybody.
Yeah.
How bad you failed. He's like, boot it back up. Yeah. And then we get the Protostar drive, which is now not blue, it is red, which depleted, needs to be, recovered.
Definitely feels bigger to me than it was last time.
Yeah, they mess with scale quite a bit. But Gwen's like, touches it and says, why would my father need a ship with an engine this powerful?
Yeah.
And why was I? And then Zero's like, why was Janeway like so confused about its capabilities? So they call up Janeway. Happy to help if I can.
Nope. Turns out you really can't. But she does know one thing. Deliberately went to the Delta Quadrant, which is important, I'm sure.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, what's the ship's purpose? And she's like, oh, well, yeah, the Protostar's mission is to enter the Delta.
Yeah. Huh?
No, my memory's, I got no record of that. And then it's like, oh, well, it must be classified. It is classified. So.
Well, in fairness, you wouldn't necessarily know your memory's failing if your memory's failing.
No.
And because in fairness, you wouldn't know your memory's failing if your memory's failing.
I was going to make that joke in a second, and you screwed it up. Well, you beat me to it. You didn't screw it up. But, yeah, like, how do you know your memory's failing unless your memory's failing?
Oh, Stuart, you beat me to it. I was going to make that joke, but you beat me to it.
Oh, man. Sorry, man. Maybe, I'm sorry. I apologize. Could have been worse. You could have done it first. Where are
Do
we?
what first?
What's happening?
Who are we?
133 people here right now. 106 likes. Guys, hit that like button. Let's get up to 120. We can do it. We only need 14 more likes.
And vote in the poll. Vote.
And vote in the poll.
But we're back to the holodeck and a lot of redo it. We've got one good close with Bird of Prey, but we'll go into it later. And Jankum is sort of supportive in the abstract, though never quite doing anything in the simulations. Always just laughing and, 48 times, which is a lot. I can imagine no cadets do it that often.
Well, you know me, if you and I had access to a holodeck and we would do the exact same shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, asking for a friend, what happens if you eat some proton grenades? Well, you're going to explode into a burst of gamma rays and cease to exist. Okay, well, gotta go. It's cute.
Yeah, cute, adorable. Asking for a friend, which normally means I did it, but this time actually is asking for a friend. It's good. Yeah. So we get another...
Jake and Pog's last count, how many times you failed? No, I haven't. 42.
We get a nice little combination of lines here. This is a nice little montage. Everyone doing a bit. With a random cut to a Klingon, which is fantastic. Yeah. Klingon man.
Dave puts in 5 pounds and says, if there are % results for the test, does that mean there's historic Starfleet leaderboards? I'd love to see that. Does he have the most attempts ever?
That's right. Yeah.
And the crew remembers each one, apparently, because Crusher here is like the phenomenon of your stubbornness belongs in medical textbooks.
Well, I got the sense that was just in one of the programs he did something that was stubborn. But
okay, well, no, they make the reference. Even Odo does later, I think. We'll see. We'll get there.
But Stuart, what a Klingon! Is it Worf? He says in a joking tone because it looks a bit like Worf in terms of art design.
I thought it was Worf at first. I'm like, seriously, they did that?
Evil Worf for the lols. It isn't Worf, but very Worf-like.
Yeah, hold on. My computer's being janky for a second.
And then we get your new screensaver, the Enterprise D. Well, just as with the previous version we've seen, the both side alcoves look unfinished. The texturing's really off. You can see the ceiling of the left alcove. There is no light yet. There's a light source. They definitely ran out of time. I mean, so much in this episode makes sense, but they definitely really quickly threw together the alcoves. Like the doors shouldn't be that color. The things aren't red. It's just a whole lot of things that just ran out of time. But you know, the front's good. Don't look at the sides. And the Klingons like, where are they? Jack Beck? What?
Well, before we get there, hold on. There's a line here, attempt number 78, and I'm not going to let this happen again, which is an Odo line.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they are familiar with it because they know that they keep dying or keep exploding. Anyway, and not again, he says, for another one. So
yes, we see them hiding. Is that a shot you ever thought you needed to see, or you ever wanted to see? Spock is kind of cuddling Beverly.
Aww. Yeah, I believe he's lost his capacity for rational decision.
Spock was chatting to her behind the Enterprise D bridge console. Okay, you got me sold. Fantastic.
It's great. No, it's fun. Let's see, what's your poll going? Let's see, the poll's Protostars buried 100 years ago. It was a carrot ball. Loved it. It was okay. Didn't like it. Time travel. All right, cool. Just want to check on the poll. Sorry. 13 more likes, guys. We can do it. We can hit 120 easily. There's a lot of again. Why can't I beat this thing? I thought for a moment he was going to find out that it is unbeatable, and he was going to be like, oh, wow, yeah, that's why, you know. But it never really came up. I mean, at the end, they do mention it, but he's not as snarky as I thought he would be. So he is learning as a character, so.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish they would have gone with a new crew, but he kicks off Jank and Pog, and he says, give me a new engineer while you're at it. So, yeah.
You kind of skipped an important moment, though.
Did I?
Yeah, because he says to Jank says, oh, you keep failing. He says, well, come on, guys. I mean, look, do I not have everything it takes? I mean, like, he has this really good speech, which hopefully you can read.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I can go back.
Because I really quite like this.
What's Starfleet got that I don't have, kind of thing. All right, hold on. I'll go back and read it. God damn it.
And this was great, because I love these sort of side shots of the bridge that they're very functional. They're what the camera need to be, and you never see things like this. With the horseshoe, etc.
Yeah. Says, what are you saying? That the Federation's got something I don't? And Jenkins Pog's like, yeah, tons of stuff. Maybe if you listen to your crew once in a while, you'd do better. All right, and then that's where he gets thrown next. He said, maybe someone on my crew isn't loyal enough. Get out of here. And then he asked for the other engineer.
So that made me really kind of happy, because it's like, this a 15-year-old thinks he's the shit, thinks he should win this thing. And it's like, dude, you literally know nothing. The guy's like, no, of course, everyone in Starfleet is better than you. Well, I love that. It's very grounded, very good way of expressing that. And throws him out, which I love. He says arch in such a, like, he's done this a lot.
Yeah.
He's like stepped out for a few minutes a couple of times and come back in, and yes, what a great Scotty. Like that was another beautiful, like, every time we added something new, it was another level of icing to a cake.
Yeah.
And it already had enough icing for satisfying enough. But they amped it up again and again, and that's what brought it to the next level of awesome, because it wasn't TOS. If it was TOS, it'd be fine, but this is Wrath of Khan, beautiful.
Yeah, and somebody in my live last night said Scotty would have been better wearing the vest uniform, and I disagree. I like him in the Monster Maroon, because this is like an official test, so if they're going to represent that character, that's what they would go with. So
it also pops more in general. The other one's good,
yeah.
but that's like his personal character one. Yeah, this would be on his record. Oh my god! If all those orange boxes are grenades, holy shit!
I know, right?
I didn't even notice that. That is like, god, that's
And
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Wow.
yeah, this moment where the thing explodes and Murph like, I thought Murph was gonna like evolve a step and like become bigger or like more imposing.
Yeah.
Didn't get that. Got the cute little toot at the end, but I really expected that he would absorb that energy and like grow or evolve like a Pokemon to his next form.
You mean
but
a Pokemon?
that's what I said.
Oh, you Americans, Pokemon. You American standard
Pokemon.
English. Pokemans. Pokemon. It's cute. Always mention off.
Don't play it. Never did it. So don't say it very often.
It's true. It's true. Like when you say I like you and respect you, just don't cut your mouth very often so they don't practice. But this was actually really great. This has got to be a massive plot hint. If he ate at least 15 grenades, each of which are enough to destroy part of a building, absorbed all of them, and just like I say, tooted, can absorb a massive amount of energy. And
yeah, and I think Murph's indestructible.
It's another fantastic line. I'm wondering though now at this point, what if Murph is connected to the proto drive? Because if you can absorb this much energy already on the plan,
maybe that's why he's eating all the time. Maybe it's transferring to the drive somehow.
Sure, or just building up to charge into it. Because what if Murph? Because remember, Murph just walked in or crawled into the ship, right? Randomly saying, "Hello." Okay, that's so either knew where the ship was already there.
No, Rock Talk brought him.
Well, it looked like I found. I mean, found in the vicinity. Like, didn't exactly walk or wasn't just walking 10 miles away. Was already there and found him. So clearly in the vicinity.
It's not clear. It's not clear. Like she could have seen him earlier, like in the mining, and thought he was cute.
Well, we saw in the mining. It was mining. Like there was lasering.
Yeah.
But maybe knew the ship was activating and came to find. So what if this thing was not just part of the crew, but was just like the spore drivers, mycelial linked with a tardigrade in theory. What if this thing is part of the power conduit system for the proto drive? We need an organic element. This creature can just do it. And so was linked to the ship in a way, knew to come when it was activated. And then this is a hint that it can absorb this energy. You have to put, it has to connect with the drive to kind of transfer energy.
And actually set an actual destination instead of just jumping until it shuts off.
Yeah. Yeah. Could be fun. I thought it was definitely a hint to this thing is going to be a plot element because it has a lot of power it takes.
But Gwen is trying to break the encryption on the classified information and finds out that it's been written in the lockout has been written in the language of her homeworld, which we find out is named Salome.
Which is weird, obviously. A basically dead race who had to clone to make a new one, who's been searching for at least 20 years, if not longer. And yet the classified password is a famous saying in our language. None of that makes sense. None of that links. Did one of their race help build this thing? Is that where they want to find it? Or is this do they come from the past or the future? There's definitely an obvious connection here.
Did Starfleet steal it? It's drive technology.
Yeah.
Don't know.
And again, another great twist. Another great little twist.
Yeah, and this is where the thing from earlier comes in, where it's not just mere translation. This is interpretation. So, yeah. What is the phrase? There is no barrier we cannot overcome, for we are the Vanakat. Yeah.
I guess that might be like the national anthem of wordage, because it's quite. Although it would have been nice if we tried multiple things. I'm fine with the way it was presented, but I'm assuming that was like second or third thing they tried. At least in her mind, that she tried one. But yeah, they unlock it. It all goes well. Janeway's really surprised, which I love, because they don't know where the race is from. We haven't been told it's Delta Quadrant. I still kind of think it was a different, probably Alpha Quadrant race originally that kind of was there as well. But Janeway's like, none of these pieces make any sense. Who the hell are you guys anyway? I don't tell her, right? But it's interesting, yeah.
Jeff Sturm says it does if they were from the Kelvin timeline, not the Prime timeline. Yeah, if they do a tie-in like that.
Except the ship isn't, because they've got TOS character in TOS uniform Spock. So we instantly
Yes.
it's not JJ already out of the equation, which is great as the ship. And she smiles, she gets it, and then back to his epic. What is his epic plan, Stuart, with this legendary crew? Well, I don't know why Odo's not a tactical. Why is Odo not a tactical? You can't fire torpedoes from there.
You can probably transfer control.
Probably, but that's not where you should be sitting.
I know, but with his legendary crew of Earpiece, Mustache, and Jellyman, and Pointy Ears and Big Red.
Yep. Yep.
It's go time. Yeah, this is where he turns up the music, and it's actually Thunderstruck by AC/DC. It even says so in the credit or the subtitles, which is great. But anyway, it turns the music up. It's a little loud. Yeah, well, that way they, our stealthy Klingon pals can't hear what's coming next.
Which I guess implies that they can listen to the bridge somehow and detect they're countering the moves of the captain because they're listening in. Otherwise, just blasting it wouldn't do anything.
Unless he's blasting out on channels or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but they could block it and also wouldn't help. Like it's in very specific solution.
But he engages impulse and does a barrel roll loop. Overloads the warp core to 130%. And plasma intercoolers go. The engines overheat. Mm-hmm. And we see a barrel roll happening.
Well, we see the reaction to a barrel roll happening. I certainly wish we'd seen the barrel roll, but that's okay.
And we see it from the inside. We see the stars going by on the view screen. So,
and a brief little note, and I'm also, well, this kind of makes it canon. None of the L cars appear to move. Are the backups? They're all static, whereas everything should be flashing. It's a ton of effort to do motion L cars, and none of my sets have them because if I've got like 27 sets, I can't ask a guy to make 500 L cars. So they're all static, which is a bit odd, but kind of stands out as like it's a static set. Small thing, but it's okay. Yeah, love Scotty holding onto the handrail. That's fantastic. Although I don't like the shot with Odo because you can see literally the texture on the ops. And it's like, why can you see a paint texture? It looks quite ugly. And also, Odo's not being lit properly because he's like glowing orange. I think have they turned the shadows off or something? Because he's being lit really wrong in this shot. Huh.
But Dal knows the old Klingon proverb of revenge is a dish best served cold. Scotty, eject the warp core.
And does he know who Klingons are? She had to try to explain them. They're not Alpha Quadrant. Don't know why he would know them. I kind of got the sense he learned about them during the test, and like at some point they said like that's the confidence he's gained in his 137 tries, is that he's like learned at the Klingons. He's maybe been captured by them in one of his versions, and he's learned some stuff. Would you agree with that inference?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Yeah, he's done the test more than 99 times at this point. Because there was a 99 reference earlier. So yeah, he's I don't know.
And he ejects the core, and I guess this makes it canon that there is no more top and bottom to the core, because the Voyager core and the E core both have extra bits that are not just a vum vum vum. I guess this makes it canon that it is just that. There's no extra bit.
If you look at the TNG technical manual, when there's warp core ejection, it's just that bit that you see on the screen right now. So
okay, well there you go. Because I've done warp core ejection before, and they're more than that. Okay, well we have talked about how like we can cut off bits, but then there's nothing below it. Yeah, but it's cool though.
And then phasers full spread, fire. And I love this because in the novel Kobayashi Maru, when Scotty does the test, that's how he deals with it. He beams the magnetic the antimatter containment pods between the shields of the Klingon ships and detonates them. He still doesn't win the scenario, but this is kind of a reference to that in a small way, so I like that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, that's the thing. The whole thing reeks of it's a good plan. What I love about this destruction also is that when it cuts back to the view screen after Dal, it's just the Star Trek 6 reused explosion, the 2D sprite. You can even see the debris of what would have been the head. And it stands out like a sore thumb, considering all the other explosions, but I love it to bits. It's a joke within a joke.
I think, and you mentioned too that when the Enterprise D explodes later, it's the same explosion.
I don't. This is. We'll get there in a minute. I know this is that explosion. But I mean, I haven't actually got that explosion in my explosion 2D pack. It's really fun. Like, it's such a clever reference because it's like every time Beta Prey explodes, it's that explosion. I love it.
But despite the unconventional methods, the Kobayashi Maru has survived, and Dallas
he wins.
Yes.
Woo!
And another Klingon battlecruiser, of course,
defloats.
And Spock keeps talking about a station and Outpost 2, which is annoying as hell, but whatever.
And this I found a little bit confusing because Dal says, if only we can be on board. Because he lists no shields, weapons. Why are their shields down then?
Because they have no warp core. They say it here.
Why are the Klingons' shields down?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like, that's not how that works.
But anyway, impulse and weapons are offline. We're dead in the water.
Oh, actually, look.
We could get off this stupid bridge.
Based on our screen caps, look, they're JJ beaming.
Yeah, it is a JJ transporter effect.
I didn't even notice that because I assumed it'd be a TNG one because it's the TNG set. So obviously it's TNG beam. It's not. It's full on the JJ. Oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Oh man, let themselves down there.
There's blinking consoles on the Klingon bridge.
There is. The Klingon bridge is way higher detail. Like, this thing is freaking flawless. This thing is phenomenal.
Which means we won't be seeing more of it later.
Well, that's what I said to you previously. Yeah, we saw it in a previous episode, Deconstructed. I said we'll see it again. This thing is freaking beautiful. Yeah, I think we'll see Klingons again because this is a really, really good digital set.
So they've been on board the Klingon ship.
What bling the guy has. Look at that. Like the extended collar, golden. Oh, what a bling, man. It's great.
It's great. Like I said, the way he's dressed is a little more extravagant than TNG Klingons, and it reminded me of Krug a little bit from Star Trek 3.
Although when we did the comparison earlier today, they're not the same by any means, but your brain links it, so clearly this is like high end, but not Rogue.
Yeah.
No, I love it. And the classic Klingon builds are from Star Trek 6. Go check out our video for direct comparisons there.
And you got him phasering people, and Spock does the neck pinch.
It's legitimately a comical scene the way they play it. I mean, it's literally rock music. It's quick cuts. It's not for me the most satisfying scene, just because you barely see the Klingons. It's a weird. I mean, it's meant to be weird. I get that, but it's not quite satisfying as I would have liked. But certainly seeing at the end, Dahl's like and Spock's, TOS Spock, chilling in the Klingon. It's like, oh, this is a good visual. This is a great visual for this show.
Tadal's like, did I do it? Did I win? You didn't tell me you could do that super neck pinch thing.
Yeah. And
then he says, Dal to Enterprise, you guys clean up here. I'm going to personally escort the Kobayashi Maru back to safety.
I love the confidence as Enterprise. Because he's never going to say it again. So that was lovely.
Yeah. This is your captain signing out.
Look at that bridge.
That's beautiful. He kicks up his feet. And unfortunately shoots a torpedo at the Galaxy or the Enterprise.
Which is weird because also they've also broke the this. If you go back to the long shot with them walking up, they broke the scale again because there is no seats on the aft two stations because they're standing height, but clearly they're tiny, so they've rescaled it again to him because they should be easily at past head height. And I mean, I guess you could. I mean, this could be a movable bird of prey, but really shrunk down consoles for that. Although, kind of a cool look. I guess the mill hasn't even ever had this much glowing stuff. So yeah, they did extend the entire bird of prey back a little bit. I'm pretty sure the console's meant to close back out. It's just a bit more like a decent. I mean, I'll have to do a comparison. Well, we'll do a comparison for our show. Oh, there he goes. But yeah, look at that detail on the LCARs. That's glorious. To you and your thing. So guys, keep liking, keep super chatting. We're 65 away from our minimum, so we'd like to get a minimum. It'd be great to show Prodigy is worth reviewing. Please do vote in our poll. I really want to see what you guys think. This is very, very close. It's about the time travel element. 45% say love the idea of the 17 years ago reveal. It was okay. 42% don't like it 6%, and 7% laziness. Let's get a few more votes. 120 if we can. 6 more votes. Let's see if we make it a bit more clear. Let's have a look. Yeah. Well, I'm still here because Skype is the way I show my videos. So it's waiting for Stuart. I guess it's just Instead died. Back in a minute. And yes, the armor flickering is new. Fantastic. Yeah, he fires a photon torpedo. And there it is.
Don't know what happened there. Lost internet.
Weird. But yeah, beautiful Klingon LCARs, and he fires a torpedo, and you get a great shot of the Enterprise D, and it gets kablooied, and that's a proper 3D explosion. That's a proper one. But yeah, Dahl, man, you got the entire 1,000 people killed. Oh, no, you didn't. You killed them. You didn't get them killed. You killed them. Oh, Spock and Beverly.
No, Spock's with him.
Oh no, sorry, Spock's fine. Spock better react as well, just killing the entire crew. He's so chill. Oh, and you see the saucer with the 1701D in the view screen. Oh, that's sad. That's really harsh.
Well, this is where he's like, oh man, I've never captained a ship before. I've never had a crew. What do I do? And then Spock gives him a little pep talk. And
a slightly intercut pep talk.
Yes. And then, yeah, it's Enemy Within, one of the very first episodes of TOS. The whole, you can't let the crew know. And then, then it cuts to Unification, like one of the last times in TNG, anyway, that we see Spock. And that's, you're as stubborn as another captain of the Enterprise I once knew. So the same thing he said to Picard about Kirk. And nice tie-in with everything.
And to non-subject comments, Richie says, I've missed weeks of videos. I'm so sorry, guys. We'll go watch them. And William says, I don't think it's time travel. The ship probably crash landed and Starfleet saved the crew. Starfleet saved the crew and left the ship because they were in enemy territory. Well, I mean, the ship was Captain Chakotay's ship. That's what he says. So he wasn't a captain then. He wasn't in the Delta Quadrant in that time either. So if they have only just found the ship, then that doesn't make sense. And besides, it doesn't look like TNG Season 1 technology or earlier. No. It's clearly way more advanced. I mean,
and even the registry number is like quite advanced as far as So.
Yep. I mean, they didn't have hologram controls that come off the. So no, definitely not.
The only other thing is could be from a different universe or something, but I doubt that. But
yeah, and so this was the one chat where you could tell it was super intercut. It doesn't help if you cut from old Spock to medium Spock to young Spock. It was still good considering, but you definitely felt the real disconnect of actually words to Dahl's reaction. But again, I hope he appreciates he's talking to Leonard Nimoy. But it was nice they tried. Really, really nice they tried. Could have been better, but nice they tried.
I'd like to live long and prosper, and he like high fives him, which is great because he wouldn't know what to do necessarily. Vulcans don't like to be touched. So.
Yeah, well, that made me chuckle every time I've seen it because you wouldn't know. Yeah. I love that high fives are from his speech as well, but that was really great because I've never seen that. I know we've all done it as fans at some point at a convention or something, but that was really, really fun. And then goodbye Spock, and we kind of get a sense of how big the holodeck is physically because it does look as if it fills the entire holodeck space, relatively speaking. So it's not much bigger than a bridge of a bird of prey. This is a big bird of prey. This is definitely a bigger than average one. But yeah, holodeck. Cool beans, computer.
A lot of people last night on the live were like, did he basically win the Kobayashi Maru until he did that stupid thing with his feet? I'm like, no, because even if they do rescue the Kobayashi Maru crew, you just started a war. You just destroyed a bunch of Klingon ships, you entered the neutral zone. Regardless, you're going to lose the scenario. So, yeah.
Well, there's always something else. Either another ship would decloak, or like you say, a Federation ship would warp out and say, hailing, bird of prey, you just killed a Federation starship. And they'd shoot him. So there'd always be something. You can't win. He did not win. He got far, but he also killed his entire crew. Which in anybody's equation would be a fail in the test. So he definitely lost either way.
Good Old Gamer says, what's better, old audio tracks or sound alikes? Definitely old audio tracks, because this was brought up last night as well. Like, it sounded janky, a lot of them, and they didn't quite match up. I'm like, well, if you use a sound alike, people are going to be pissed because it's disrespecting the original actor, and you can't win. No matter what you do, people are going to be complaining about it. So I think it was best to do it the way they did it. So
yeah, I mean, you can find extremely good people, but also sound alikes can't normally do full speeches in the voice. It tends to be their catchphrases and a certain cadence. Like, I have a friend who's a Martin McFly impersonator. He can do all the catchphrases perfectly, but as soon as you start acting as him for any period of time, you kind of lose it a bit. Not fully, but you do. And so doing a full Spock speech in his cadence, that's going to be like really difficult and flawed.
yeah,
You're not going to win either way. I think this is a very respectful way. I mean, this is everyone can forgive this, even if you didn't like it as much. Obviously, it would have been nice. It definitely felt as if they didn't go back to the original '60s audio recordings to find the tracks. There shouldn't be that much.
They used a DVD.
It sounded like they used some other version of it, and I think I read from an interview that they didn't actually have original access to stuff, because in fairness, if they haven't mastered TOS for 15, 20 years, where do they archive those files? Are they neat? Are they in different softwares? Are they going to be able to find the original reels of audio? The process is not just, if we were doing DS9 remaster right now, they could just say, oh, CBS guy, could you pull out the audio from that episode? But clearly they didn't have access to any of those audios. And I'm assuming CBS said, yeah, we're not going to spend $9,000 just to hire the guys again to find the audio to try and then another a few days of work finding stuff. Or we'll give you the Blu-ray with the separate audio tracks, and then you can try and pull from that, which, obviously no music in them. But certainly the 60s stuff should have been cleaner. I feel like it could have been cleaner, but there's probably a reason why. They put this much effort in, there's probably a reason why. I'll give them that full benefit of the doubt there,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Dave throws in £2 and says, I wish they could use peace and long life more. Yeah. Same thing. This is where the computer says, he asks, how do I beat it? And it's like, well, this is no one scenario. It's to test how you react to a hopeless situation. And he's like, laughs, says, almost had it.
And Laughable Larry has a lovely comment saying, thanks for what you do, Trekyards. Best Trek channel on YouTube. Very kind. Thank you so much. Very, very nice.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, Dad goes up to the bridge.
What did I miss? Guys? I did. Oh, what?
But they got all the raw data. It's corrupted but readable. And we find out the Protostar was a prototype, fastest in Starfleet.
And this confused me a bit. Why they unlocked it? Why is it fragmented? But also they can read it over time. What?
Yeah, they I don't know. They say there's so much it'll take months to go through all the raw data. So. And
yet they can still key phrase, they can still find code and throw them on, and then plays the recording. This is visually confusing to me because it should be searchable and it should be
storytelling. That's all it is.
Sure.
So we don't get all the information right now.
Oh yeah.
Look.
But is there a reason why it's so broken up? Data doesn't just.
Could be part of the encryption. There might have been an encryption software program to
That's true.
decrypt it and put it
That's
in
interesting.
Order. All they did was break the lockout.
Yeah.
So you can still see the information. It's just scattered everywhere.
I mean, it still doesn't help though. In a sense, if you can steal the information, you still find what you need, just a bit slower. But that's a good thought. I'm wondering though, because Jeremy says my memories aren't broken, which means the computer core isn't broken.
Yeah.
Or is the date? Because why would the mission parameters be damaged of all the information on the ship? Of all the information, the ship's working flawlessly as far as we can tell. So bit weird. I don't know. I mean, if the ship's been lying dormant for 20 years, maybe there's corruption somewhere in the computer core. But I don't know. It was an odd abstract thing. I don't mind it by any means, but I hope we get some reason as to why. She's smiling.
Oh, we will.
But we get Jankum sort of saying, "Oh no, she did. He ordered to save you." So that kind of finishes that arc, and we get a bit of. She now has a purpose. Good.
SVS Guru 2000 puts in €5. Thanks so much. Would the Kobayashi Maru be more effective if the officer being tested didn't know it was a simulation like the one the Wesley went through? Yeah, an argument can be made for each. You don't have to take the Kobayashi Maru either.
Most people don't.
Spock became a captain without ever having taken it. So.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you didn't know it was a simulation, then you would notice, because I don't think you could successfully make an entire crew feel real. Because if you're waking up one day on a ship that you don't recognize, with no memory of how you got there, with the crew don't know, and told to captain a mission, like the circumstance to be in that situation is so beyond levels of ability that it's not realistic. It's just more laughable to assume that they don't know the Kobayashi Maru is a thing. How do you keep that secret every year for every student, for every whatever, unless it's quite a rare thing? I mean, certainly Savick, who did the Maru, her command crew was the entire legendary crew of the Enterprise. Mm. Holy shit! Under the tutelage of
That's because she was besties with Spock, and Spock, pulled some strings for her.
Absolutely, like she got top level, so maybe it is a specialist thing that only a few people do. Because if everyone does it, everyone knows it's not real. Like if only 10 students of every class do it, and don't tell people it's a win no win scenario, then it keeps a secret. But how else do you keep it?
There's no way that's not known about the no win scenario. It's very.
Or maybe they ask you and they wipe your memory every time. Okay, great. Now you don't know anymore. Go do it.
Anyway, they see a floating Chakotay avatar, and ooh, who are they? And the rock that touches it. Now, Chakotay here has what looks like the same delta as the protostars and a new uniform.
Yes, and we can see that delta. So, and we'll do a full comparison of this as well at some point, guys. Need to break it down. But yeah, new uniform, new badge, and yes, he appears in the view screen. He appears as a pretty broken hologram. And considering this is like hyper advanced tech, bit weird. It's this shitty.
Well, it's not fully decoded yet, probably. Sure. It'll look better next time we see it.
And definitely give me engineer flashbacks. I felt that was absolutely a Prometheus. Like, it's exactly how the Promethean stuff looked in Prometheus. Yeah, but it's great. I mean, what a great way to end. We've been calling out is Chakotay going to be a cameo?
Yeah.
And him saying, we've been boarded, gone through an anomaly.
And Janeway's like, he's the captain, and you see the Janeway hologram pull up. Yeah, warning, we're being boarded. It's like, nice.
And then Janeway hologram goes to talk to Janeway hologram, or look at those. It's quite funny.
And I'm suddenly realizing that you aren't my first crew.
Because you're totally Starfleet and totally my official crew. Didn't totally steal it or anything.
Then we get the in memory of Renee Abenoir, James Doohan, Leonard Nimoy, who inspire us to go boldly. So, very nice touch.
I hope Nichelle Nichols, I know she's got dementia and such, hopefully she can see this and actually register that, her is back on Trek for the first time in, multiple decades as actually her. I hope she sees that.
And Laughable Larry says, did they get the voice actor back for Chakotay? Yes, absolutely. Robert Beltran is going to be in the show. So.
And, okay, well, I don't get hopes up too much because obviously when they had Jonathan Frakes, his appearance in Lower Decks was not very impressive in the grand scheme. He seemed to have a bigger part in season 2, and obviously Tom Paris was laughable how small an appearance he had. So this, if Chakotay was 20, 30, 40, 100 years in the past, this version of him from the future might be dead, and all he sees holo recordings, which is also great. But I will need to see at some point Admiral Janeway and present day Chakotay at some point. But then you get to have your cake and eat it too. In Endgame we had future Janeway, and a future Chakotay. I want to see both. Show us both.
Yeah. Texas Steven puts in $5. Thank you so much. I think the Diviner had been on the Protostar before and responsible for the original crew's disappearance, and he scrambled Janeway's memory files. Distinct possibility. Could have lost the ship somehow as well. But
more likely his lineage. Somebody in his family, and then they had to re-find it. Maybe once they tasted the power of the Protostar, because they found it. That'll be a debate. There's certainly enough to talk about.
Yeah.
But very, very interesting.
Good tea, nice house. Puts in $2.79 Canadians. Thank you. Is that a Picard era uniform? Negative.
It's new. So yeah, we can assume he comes from or can you imagine if that's actually the new Picard era uniform, and they're just showing it and throwing it in this, like the new one. They want to be consistent. Be kind of cute, wouldn't it? We'll see. Right. Epic cliffhanger. We're at $55 away from our minimum, guys. What's your final goal?
I want another 9 likes to get to 140. I think that's very doable. 9 likes, guys. 9 of you haven't hit like yet, and you know it. Hit that like button.
I'm going to end the poll and start one more poll, so I'll read it out. Protostar was buried 17 years ago. What a curveball. What do you think of this time travel reveal? 46% love it. 40% it was okay. 6% didn't like it, and 8% thought it was lazy. So there's an 86% margin of at least like it, which is pretty good. So I'm going to do one more poll, and we'll do our closing scores on what you guys think. So I want to know what you guys think.
And Mario says maybe he was a crew member. No, he's the captain. They've already established this. He's got a crew. Jason Alexander plays one of them, who's a Tellarite. There's an Andorian crew member and somebody else. There's 4.
You can also see 4 pips on his uniform.
Yeah.
And he's called captain. So.
Yes, it's his ship. She says so.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, so. All right, let's see. Andy Urich throws in $5. Chakotay and Janeway and the ship being boarded just like old times. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so keep the super chats coming. Hit the like button, guys, and we're going to do the whole thing of scoring this thing, giving our final thoughts. And if you guys want to put in 10, whatever would be greatly appreciated. Put them in there. I will read the super chat scores, and if you just want to if you can't super chat, want to put your score in the regular chat, Sam will read those when we're done. So,
and my new poll is:
we have a new poll.
What do you think of this cliffhanger? You loved it, was okay, meh, didn't grab me, and didn't work for me. I have to say loved it. I think this was the secret sauce it needed to kind of.
Yeah.
See, this episode had a cake, had icing, had candles, and this was the final light on the top of the candle. That's how much icing and secret sauce we had on top of each other. Where Discovery keeps not doing those things. Not in a bad way, just not able to reach this level. So Stuart, what are your final thoughts? And do you think any different having truly broken it down, both for 2 hours this morning and for 2 hours this afternoon?
Yeah. No, I've talked about this a lot now, because including my live last night.
Oh yeah, God.
Yeah. So I mean, this thing is like Prodigy's never let me down. Right from the beginning that it was announced, I was very optimistic about it. I was looking forward to going into it, and it hasn't missed a beat for me, really. I really appreciate the love and dedication that the crew are putting into it. You can tell they're Star Trek fans. You can tell they're like Mike McMahon and his crew. They love the Trek. They love the fans, and they want to give us what we want. So it's great. The Kobayashi mirror thing was really fun. I wish they kind of would have scrolled through another character or two, maybe, or whatever. And I think this might be an ongoing thing for the season as Dal tries to get better and better at it, perhaps. And so maybe you'll see a scene where they're looking for Dal. You see the holodeck door open. You see like the classic TOS bridge behind them, and like 7 of 9 turn from the science station as the door is closed. That he's tried it multiple times with multiple crews. Always trying to improve himself and become the captain he wants to be, the leader. I think that'd be really cool to have that an ongoing thing for the season. I don't think they're necessarily going to do that, but it would be fun. So it was really great to see them. And the voice clips, were a little janky at times, but honestly, I think it's the best they could have done with the COVID restrictions and just the original audio files being who knows where. So I think it's fine. We actually had an audio guy on the live last night who said, you can tweak audio so much and then it starts to get really bad and tinny. Like there's only so much you can do to remove background noise, like the music and stuff. So they did what they could, and it was fun. And it's fun to also go back and analyze what episodes those clips are from. There's fun little moments. So when you're watching DS9 and Odo says there's 2 Klingon ships on approach, you're like, oh yeah, that's all right, there it is. So that's kind of fun. It's like a game. So loved all that. The whole story with Gwen kind of finding her place on the team with the crew, and then leading up to the whole Chakotay being the captain of the Protostar and the 17-year gap thing. There's a lot going on there that is going to pay off. So the setup has been great. I'm looking forward to finding out what's going on. And we've been speculating time travel and future ship and all that. We've said all that before in live, so it'll be interesting to see which one of our ideas kind of pans out or not. Yeah, this was a great setup episode for sure. It's funny because it's set up so much. Like I said, answered questions but raised new ones, and it was also such a like present to the fans with that holodeck simulation. So it didn't just feel like a setup episode; it was a payoff episode as well. So it was really great. So that being said, score-wise, wow, it really brought Prodigy back with a bang for sure. Like more than 99 bangs. Boom. I'm gonna have to give this a really high score. Unfortunately, this is like a.
Now, well, before you give your score though, because this is only fair. It's been such a while. I want to give you context.
Yes, please do.
Because we haven't even done. We didn't even do all of Prodigy apparently in the score chart. We just couldn't yet. First episode was 7.5 for you.
Mm-hmm.
Third episode, second episode was 7. Dreamcatcher was 8.7. Terra Firma was 7.7. So the highest we've given is 8.7.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. That's because I thought that's only fair.
Kind of what I figured.
Okay.
This one for me, honestly, is going to get a 9.5. Like this was really fun to watch. It's fun to rewatch. It is just, it's pure joy to hear the familiar voices and things. So, yeah, this is going to be a favorite Trek episode of mine for like a long time.
Yeah.
So, on that ground, yeah, 9.5. It's what I had in my mind like a minute ago before you even contextualized it with the other scores. So that's where I'm sticking. How about you?
Yes, me.
Did it change? I know you didn't do the live with me last night. So going through it, did you change anything?
Well, to reveal, but we did do our edited review yesterday, so I have had a day to mull it over and we watched it.
Yes, and edit it too. So you got to hear us talk again.
And also. We watched it before this. Yeah, it's actually better on second viewing, which is nice. That doesn't always happen, but for different reasons. And yes, guys, we're only 20 away from our minimum, $20, so we're right there. Helps out if you can.
Yes, a couple fives.
Which we're seeing, but just probably my scores. No, it's really good. It is definitely on the like you said, the fan service level, but unlike the Lower Decks holodeck episode, which is a bit more for the sake of it. This is not a ton more, just a little bit more. Like the other Wild West stuff, like that stuff's the longer sequences than the short ones in this with Janeway. So they're more. This is very, very well written. Huge character growth for Dahl, very naturally feeling, works super well. You get a good bit of Murph character development. The Blob has more to it. Zero's good in it. Janeway's good in it. The vulnerability. She's been I'm in control of the ship and then suddenly being like, the hell? Loved that. Good acting by Mulgrew. And not taking over the show either. Just part of the ensemble. Doing ensemble really well, considering that you got one of the 5 captains. Well, 8 captains, I guess, now. That's great. And then Gwen, nice build, gentle, appropriate. Everyone was really good in character. Everyone built. You saw more of the ship I liked. Came in with a bang. The characters were used very appropriately. Very difficult to do. Well done, they did them. I've done this once for Temporal Anomaly. Years ago, I was able to cut together a scene. It's really tricky. But when you find it, you're really happy when you find the line you need. And to have a scene with Dahl and Spock talk on a bird of prey. Yes, I just said that out loud. Like, even 3 weeks ago, that would seem absurd. But it's fantastic. All the uniform detail and the costume the same thing, but all the bridge detail. But this is an overtime. What's the opposite of bottle show? This.
Yeah. It would be so cool because they mentioned James T. Kirk in this one. It'd be cool if Dal goes to the holodeck and talks to Kirk.
Famous captains.
Archer. Yeah, to kind of get advice on how to be a captain. There's so much potential for a cameo in this. I mean, that's what he would do. He would talk to the best captains in Starfleet. So
that's really, really good actually. They've got a wealth of dialogue more so, once you go up to the captain rank. I mean, Picard, boy.
We could bring Shatner back if you could pay him for a line or two, but
yeah, that would certainly, I know Shatner said I don't want to do a cameo, but saying, we want you to come in as a teenager's mentor about how to be a good captain and give a really good couple of speech lines. That's great. That's a good thing to be doing.
Scott Bakula would do it as well. Yeah.
Well, and you could actually have Kirk in full like Wrath of Khan in this, looking like old Kirk, and it not sound as removed, you know, beyond the Star Trek 6 bridge or whatever, or in his cabin. Who the hell knows? Beyond the Enterprise B bridge, just rub salt in the wound. It defaulted to his death site, yeah. And yeah, I absolutely agree. I think this needs to be a thing that happens throughout the show, because for non-Trek fans or for the kids who are, in theory, watching the show, seeing a character they sort of like, but at least those who want to be a strong leader, seeing people from the past, they must register as someone from the past as a focus element of how to be better, of how to work as a team, of whatever. That's really, really good. And to have more lessons through the other crew members, that's fantastic, as in Legacy. And then you could do like some multiple bridges, and that's certainly the thing to at least come back to once or twice. This idea of holodeck command training, super needed, super welcome. I can't see them not doing it. It seems like a foregone conclusion. But yeah, definitely phenomenal. And it just comes down to the writing, super good. And I think, honestly, it's got to be around the 9.5. There's so little they did wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't tend to give 9 point somethings. That's hard for me to do. I know
you don't.
There's obviously, we've done this analysis, they got a few things wrong, costume-wise, set-wise. Like, these are tiny, small things. And I've done enough small things that are wrong on my sets. When you have to build so many, we have to rush them all things. So I think 9.5 is super fair. It beats most Discovery episodes. It beats a lot of Lower Decks episodes. It's very, very strong. Mm-hmm. Good job, them. Good job, them. And it's still a real story as well. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, what do you guys think?
We need a few more super chats, but let's go to the ones we got.
Yep.
Paul Graham, $5. I'll have to come back and watch this live after I finish watching the episode. Yes, you will, Paul. TX Stevens puts in $5. 9 out of 10. They just keep getting better and better, in my opinion. I'm still curious to see if the Protostar has transporters.
It does.
It does.
Confirmed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
we do know that, yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all the super chat scores we got.
I was waiting for you to continue. Sorry, anticlimactic there. Yes, non-super chat scores. I want to know what you guys think. And obviously keep voting the poll, guys. Aussie says 9.9 out of 10. Bang. Troy, 9 out of 10. Dad says 9.8. Almost perfect, and Dad is quite a stringent 9 point something as well. God darn. Wow. George Mangrum, 10 out of 10. A perfect Star Trek episode. Kieran, 9.99 out of 10. Aussie going down a score to 9 point... I said 10. Alright. Chuck A, 9.5. Eric, 9. Marco Van Arsch, 9. Robert Westfield, 10. Jeff says, didn't the BBC do something similar to the recordings from Classic Doctor Who? Yes, we've done it before, which is great. Deborah, 9. Thomas, 10. They would like a Vorcha. Yes, Vorcha would have been cool as well. Taylor T, 9. Colin, not seen it 7 out of 10.
Yep. Sure.
What does that mean? The Dark Eddie, 9.8. Archeon, 8 out of 10, so not as high. Let us know why. 9.5 from Brian, 9 from William. So this is top tier, and obviously we know you guys follow us through these reviews and we see all these people. So knowing what you guys normally give, that's a hell of an achievement. Although is it a slight indictment though that to be the best they can be, they have to reference all the old stuff? Because what did this have? All of the old Trek, and will we all rate it as the best one?
No. I don't quite understand your question.
Well, if this is the highest rated by literally everybody, but it's the one that had the most references, well, is that because of the most references? Did that give it the edge?
Probably. It even had Chakotay come back, so I mean that's the ongoing story. So hopefully that played some part into their decision. Because
they keep being the best is the one that has the most things in it. But it's just so well told, though. I'm saying that's devil's advocate sort of thing. I'm trying to give a bit of extra, whatever. But no, I think it still deserves it, even though Even though you could say, oh, well, because of this and this, I think it still deserves the credit.
Yeah, I think that might have played a little bit of a factor in the high scores, but I'll have to see how the rest of the season goes, because I think they don't need to use these as legacy characters as a crutch. Mm-hmm. The show's already good. Mm-hmm. So,
and it wasn't a crutch; it was a character building thing. They just said, once we're doing it, we can go all in. Why wouldn't we go all in? Let's have fun with it. Was the vibe. Yeah. I get anyway.
Yeah. Well, SPS Guru 2000 puts in €10. So thank you so much.
Almost there, guys. Thank you so much.
7.5 out of 10. I liked it, but once again, demonstrated the show's greatest weakness. These episodes are too short. What was in it should have been explored more. Oh, this is going to be a fantastic binge watch when this is done, for sure. But yeah, don't know if I give it such a low score, but I mean, teach their own. So,
well, it's low because he wants more, and that's bittersweet. You want more? Give us more. But the thing is, we have 40 episodes confirmed coming. That's good. That's good.
That's great. It's not good.
That's fair. I'm wrong. That is fair. Yeah, it's great. There you go. Better?
Yes. Okay. Yes, it is. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
It's been a fun one, as of course it was always going to be.
We're going to have some lives next week talking about some of this stuff, obviously. We got videos all this weekend and next week coming out, so stay tuned for those. Make sure click the notification bell icon and all that.
We've already binge recorded, and there was plenty to discuss, which is always nice, because Discovery, we were kind of used to maybe 2 things, and here we get thrown so many things. And we've done the recordings. They're definitely worth discussing what we've done. There's a plethora of things.
Like to think so.
Yeah, it's work to do.
Yeah, and we got more to film, obviously. So we got stuff to talk about, guys. It's just looking forward to next week for sure. Hopefully they'll get right into the start with a holodeck, recreation of Chakotay and what happens or something. That'd be great.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely, they've now set the expectation of we're going to go straight into the Chakotay stuff. Or even flash forward to 2402, and Chakotay storms on the ship in his uniform and says, "What's happening? Are we going to be hit by an anomaly?" And then, "Where's the rest of my crew? I've beamed them all away. Okay, I need a helper." And then Janeway appears, because why would there be a void of Janeway? There wouldn't need to be unless the crew's not there or something.
Yeah.
So there's more there obviously to that story, which is fantastic. And then because it'd be kind of fun if he saves his crew and then he's the only one that goes to Delta Quadrant. That'd be kind of a nice thing. Because maybe I don't know if you want a little spoiler or not. Do you want a little spoiler?
I don't mind spoilers.
So if you recall that the producer people had done a set of interviews with news outlets, and they were asked about Chakotay, and he said, "Is he the captain of Protostar?" And the writer guy says, and this is a video interview I believe, point blank says no. I'm like, okay then, fantastic, interesting. And then this episode says, he was. And so one of the review channels called him out, it was Trekyards or something, they said, you said this, and they said, well, technically, we couldn't correct you without spoiling it. He was the captain, but they're not his crew, they weren't his crew in the Protostar. It's like...
Okay, I mean, technicalities and loopholes, yeah, get it, yeah.
So that might mean that's old Chakotay, and we'll see in present-day Chakotay with the crew, who isn't the captain of the Protostar. So. Because the Protostar is his later ship, who say he goes in Delta Quadrant without anybody else, maybe to escape something else. So there's a lot that's really interesting. And then we can, again, have cake and eat it too. We've got old Chakotay leaving breadcrumbs, and then present-day Chakotay somewhere else. Doing something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and check out the stuff on the weekend, like I said, and tune in next week. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff. So
I'll end the poll there. We said, what do you think of the cliffhanger? Resounding 82% loved it. 15% says was okay. Only 1% meh. 1% didn't work. So that means 98% of you enjoyed it, and that's that's freaking unanimous. That's one person for the other two, and everyone else for that. So hey, amazing, fantastic,
awesome, great. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. Prodigy's back. We're excited. We're gonna have
roll in next week. Hurry up.
Yep.
What is it?
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Cannot wait. So we'll see you guys later. Until then, he's Commander Cockings.
He's Captain Foley.